Today we will look at a chapter called market analysis and strategy. This, after the functions of management, you have something called international business, that is your Japanese organization, US and theory Z, what we saw. Then these are some additional things to it. Okay, here we look at three basic things. There is something called 5C, there is something called 4Ps, and then there is something called STP. We'll look into that today. Okay, so basically here you are looking at managers, how can you make use of the market. Okay, so market comprises of so
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
yeah.
Sir, are you sharing your screen?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, correct. Now you should be able to see this. Okay, yeah, so this is what we look into, uh, market analysis and strategy. So we will look at something known as 5Cs, then segmentation, targeting and positioning, that is STP, and then we look at something called 4Ps. It's called the marketing mix: product, price, place and promotion. Then we will look at some components in the market that affect all your decision makings. So that is called pest analysis. Okay, political, economic, technical factors and socio-cultural factors that affect your decision making in the market. So this is one thing, briefly your syllabus of this chapter explained in one slide. So we look at situational analysis, STP, marketing mix and how it is applied. Okay, so when you are deciding or talking about market, so what are the things that you should be having in your mind? So these are the 5 C's. Okay, one is consumer characteristics and trends. So you want to launch a new product, or you want, I mean, there is some already existing product, you want to upgrade it. Okay, or you have product in different market, now you want to enter a different market altogether. So what are the things people think of, what should be they aware of? Okay, consumer characteristics and trends. For example, how is the consumer purchasing your product? Are people going for digital platforms, or only cash transactions are happening, or are they taking in credit, or they are, you can find out that in the market, are people using credit cards to buy your products, or are they doing online payments, and how, when do they pay, how does the supplier pay you, so all these things. Okay, then resources of the company. Okay, how well backed up you are to launch into a new market, because it comes with some expenses. Profits may not come immediately, you'll have to wait for some time for getting break even. Okay, in that time you have to run your company through some other way, some other cash flow should be there. So these resources of the company, do you have some other sister concerns from where you can pump in money, or do you have some you know merger and acquisition from which you can survive for some time till the cash flow becomes uniform? So these are some things. Okay, then important thing is current and the potential competitors. Right now, if you enter the market, who are the potential, I mean, who are the current competitors now, who will eat your market share, or whose market share you will have to eat? Okay, and who can be the potential competitors? Now, suppose if you want to go into OTT platforms, you want to, release your movie in social media or something like that. So, who are the current competitors now? Okay, is there potential of new people coming in? Okay, how much market share can I get? Okay, or whose market share I'll have to eat? And should I look for, market penetration, or should I look into segregation, all these things? Okay, and then current and potential collaborators. Okay, this is also very important. You should be aware of some companies which can be your potential partners. Okay, who may buy your company. You must have seen so many smaller companies getting bought by the bigger companies, if both of them are into same kind of business. So instead of fighting with each other, the bigger company offers to buy the smaller one. Okay, so that the competition is less and they can take care of it nicely and can threaten the other competitors in the market. Okay, so this is also good thing to think of, because some kind of startups, when they start, they have this in mind. Okay, with whom can I collaborate in future? Like if you see Byju's and all, day by day some new collaboration is happening and all that. So you should keep your eyes open. Okay, if not right now, after 1 or 2 years, when I grow certain, big in certain way, can I look for a merger with those people and all that? Okay, and then the context or the environmental factors. Okay, context is your PEST. We will see that now. So these are the 5 C's that people usually should be aware of when they enter a new market, or when they launch a new product, or already they are in some country or state, they want to enter into a totally new area. Okay, so these are the things that will help you in planning, you know and having a nice clean blueprint in your mind. Okay, by when should I have this launched? Because timing also is very important. Suppose you are looking at some business of umbrella or raincoat or something, you should know when you should launch. After the half the monsoon is over, then you think of launching it, you would have lost it. Okay, or is it right time now? Now it's peak summer. Do you want to start advertising now, so that people are aware of your brand by the time monsoon starts, or when they think of buying this rainwares? Or you should wait for 1 more month and then start? Okay, so for doing all this, you should have your, all this context clear in your mind. Okay, who are your consumers, how are they buying it? Okay, do you have a backup to start advertising now itself, spend money, and then can you get the turnover required? Okay, and who can be your potential competitors? Currently there are several brands. Are others thinking of getting into this market? Can I collaborate with someone? So all these things are very helpful for any company. Now when we spoke of context, the last C there, so we are talking about totally 4 things here. Okay, we are talking of political factors, economic factors, societal trends, and technological development.
Technological development.
Yeah, so we call it actually PEST. Okay, sometimes in your school you must have studied pestle analysis. There was L for legal also. Okay, so if you put it in this way, very simple: political, economic, social, and technological. So these are the factors that can affect your businesses. Okay, so in political, if you look at 1 or 2, okay, the taxation policies. Okay, is this business being taxed heavily, or is there some rebate in this business? Is there any subsidy if you try to do something here? So that can give you some mileage. For example, you are into some Ayurvedic product or something. Okay, so you have some tax rebates, you have some subsidies available. For foreign trade, you are given a free hand. You can, you know, export your products at less whatever taxes. So these kind of things will help you. Okay, and the current employment law, is there any rule that you should give some basic minimum salary, or is it a must that you should give your employees PF and all those benefits, or it's only for the permanent employees? Temporary employees need not be given this. So that's why some people take only on contract, and once the contract is over, they start the contract fresh or look for new faces. That is one of these reasons. Otherwise, once the or employee becomes permanent, you are liable to give provident fund and all that things, which comes at a cost. So these kind of things come into play here. Okay, and sometimes, see, some government is favorable to certain businesses or whatever. So how long will this government stay? Is it likely that it will change soon? Then we may land in trouble. Or this government is not helpful, the next government has promised that they will help this sector, so should we wait till that government comes? So these kind of some decision makings you'll have to make. Okay, so if you look at economic conditions here, one is your business life cycle stage, like we discussed in the last class. If you remember, introduction, growth, maturity, decline, the product life cycle of any product. So at which stage your product is it in decline? So then you'll have to start renew or start afresh. So then it comes with some cost. Or is it in now growth stage, make hay while the sun shines, till the next something comes in, we are going to cash on it. So these kind of decisions. Okay, interest rates, like mm, suppose you have some lending and all going on, at what interest rate it is, because interest rate on say crores of rupees makes a huge difference. So these things come into play. Okay, now if you look at social factors here. Okay, so here we'll be talking about demographics. Okay, like now if you see, you'll find out that nearly 65% of Indian population are youngsters. Okay, so you know these youngsters, how they spend, what is their spending pattern, on what they spend. Okay, so you know they want branded clothes, they want at least one phone with dual SIM. Okay, and they have some gaming addictions. They have some, you know, fast food kind of food habits. Okay, they are repeat purchasers, they like binge watching, they watch on these OTT platforms, that is their lifestyle. So all these things, if you know, you can make use of these kind of things in your business. Okay, see, before some years, what people did on Saturday Sundays, leisure. Okay, maybe went for a picnic or something, went for a movie, or went for a temple visit, or went to some relative's house, these kind of things. But now if you see, because of this COVID era also, and just before that also, if you had seen youngsters weekend, you know, either they'll be partying on Saturday or something, then they'll be at their home only. They don't want to leave the couch. They are settled there. They're ordering food at home and watching some series, and they don't want to step out. Again for night, they want to order food. So these kind of things. So you know how is the lifestyle changing. So accordingly, you can pitch your product. Okay. Now, if you look at technological changes, okay, see impact of new technologies. See now, if you order in your Amazon or any other site, you can see exactly from where the product is being shipped, where it is right now, when it will reach you. So these kind of things will impact their decision making in the future. Okay, some this kind of commerce site gives you 2 days early, and you're happy. You're going to stick with it. You're telling others also their delivery is very fast, so you know you get it before time. So these companies sometimes tell you product will be delivered on 10th, and then 8th they give you, so you get a feel of, oh, it has been given before time. So these kind of changes. Okay, and with growing speed internet, people, you know, they can't just wait. Their needs are different now. They want instant loans. There are so many apps which give loans. Okay, because of this technology, you can immediately, you know, upload all your documents, get loan in no time. Then repaying also, you can pay through different sources, UPI, or you know, credit card, debit card. So all these things. So technology has impacted your lifestyle, your payment, you know, your paying capabilities, the way you pay, the way you deal with business. uh, Before some years, you know, people dealing with the stock market had a different approach. Okay, they had to go to a broker, have some hard copies, this that. But now with some apps, you can instantly buy, sell. You can follow, you can track, you can see the company growth rate, you know, what kind of bonuses they are giving, how are they giving dividend or not, which is making profit. And you can see the news and find out pharmaceutical companies are doing well, so people want to invest in it. So they see all the, you know, everything in one screen, different competitors, how much dividend they are giving, how many, you know, what kind of liquidity they have, what kind of cash inflow they have. So all these things, technology has changed the decision making things. So you are starting some company, or you are, you know, growing big, so you should be aware of all these things. Okay, because of all these things, people's decision making will depend on so many things that will finally affect your business in one way or the other. So mostly you can, if you can understand all these things, you can make use of all these things and benefit for your business. Okay, fine. So that was your situational analysis, looking at the 5 C's. Okay, now if you look at STP, okay, that is your segmentation, targeting, and positioning. So, you know, see, there is one market, okay, full market. So sometimes it is difficult to cater to the full market. So people go for segmentation. That means we make, you know, like cake. We cut, you know, how you cut the cake piece or how you cut the pizza. So like that, you segment the market. So basically, it is a process of identifying a group of people similar in one or more ways. Okay, in that the piece that you have cut, you want similar kind of groups in that. Okay, based on variety of characteristics and behaviors. So that is called segmentation in simple terms. We'll see exactly. Once that segmentation is done, then we talk about targeting. Okay, once you decided we are going to segment on different features, which you'll see now, but first understand broadly what it is. Once it is segmented, then you're targeting. Okay, we want to, offer to this particular segment only. For example, you segmented by male, female, age group, and so many things. Then you decided we are going to cater to this young age group of 20 or less. Okay, so that is your targeting. I think someone has to switch off your microphone. Ayush, please mute yourself. Okay, done. So the third thing is positioning. Okay, positioning is, how you are, keeping your product in the minds of the consumers. Okay, take any, for example, if you take Patanjali, okay, how it is positioned. The moment I tell Patanjali, you will have a nationalism kind of thing related with it, some kind of Ayurveda, yoga, that kind of thing comes in your mind. If I tell you Nirma washing powder, okay, there is something associated with it. It comes in your mind in that way. If I tell Ariel, okay, it looks kind of sophisticated washing powder. So it is positioned like that. If I tell, what is that? Ghadi washing powder, okay, in which that Amitabh band all come for that ads. Okay, it has been positioned in certain way. So position is how your product or company is perceived in the minds or hearts of the consumers. Okay, now if I tell you Bajaj, okay, if I tell you Bajaj Pulsar, if I tell you KTM bike, if I tell you Royal Enfield, see each of this is positioned in a certain way. If I tell you TVS Scooty, okay, or Honda Activa, it's positioned in different way. You can feel it, you can understand what I'm talking about. For some, fashion leader tag is attached. For some kind of, price leader tag is attached. Another is durability. That kind of feel comes in your mind. So this is positioning. Okay, sometimes what happens, a product is positioned in certain way, but after a period of time they feel we have to reposition it. So then again they rebrand and again position it in a different way. Okay, if you look at Maggie, it was positioned in certain way. Then after that lead and all that issue, it was kind of repositioned as if safe, maa ke haath ka, that kind of touch. If you look at Vicks Vaporub, okay, so it is positioned in such a way that there is some kind of emotion attached to it. When your loved ones apply that your head or something, you get cured fast. So some kind of association is there. If you look at Cadbury's Dairy Milk, okay, it's positioned in that kind of way. If you had seen those Amul ads when you were kids or before you were born, probably, okay, the tagline was a gift for someone you love. So that kind of feeling. Okay, then Cadbury's Dairy Milk. Okay, you understand what I mean. Okay. So basically, in simple terms, segmentation is identifying and describing the market segments. Okay, targeting is evaluating and then deciding whom you should target. And positioning is how you position your product in the minds and heart of the customers. Okay. Now see, when you are segmenting the market, there can be different ways. We look at some for your understanding. Okay, how you can segment a market. You can segment based on geographical segmentation or demographics or psychographics or behavioral. Okay, geographic market in the sense geographic segmentation, we are going to segment the market based on North India, South India, or Asian country, Western country, European country, like that, or based on population. Okay, dense population versus low population, these kind of things, or based on climate. Say we are going to look at this desert or less rainy area, and then area with heavy monsoon. So like this you can say, like I told, if you're into umbrella business, so you'll have to cater to certain segments. You cannot go to a desert and then tell buy this umbrella for rain. No, you have to go to a place where there's heavy monsoon. So these kind of segmentations help you. Okay, so these are geographic segmentations. Okay, now if you look at demographic segmentation, all your age, gender, nationality, income, family size, religion, all these are your demographic characteristics. Okay, you know, age group less than 20, more than 20, 40 and above, less than 60. So based on this age segmentation, you sell certain products. For example, hair dye. Okay, so you're segmented and then you're targeting age group of 30 and above or 40 and above, 50 and above. You hardly sell this hair dye to age group of 20 and less. You never see selling this one hair dye to college going students. They show middlemen, middle class men, or that middle class, I mean middle aged men or ladies, and they create ad with which is revolving around that. So that is segmentation by age. Okay, segmentation by gender, you can understand male, female. Okay, nationality, you can make out. See, based on income, okay, less income, middle income, high income. If you look at airlines, okay, this is one of the main way they segment. You have economic class, you have business class, you have first class, it's like that. Okay, so based on this income they try to target you, and then they give a small kind of offer. If you put something more, you can go into the next class. So like that they try to sell you the seats. Okay, and based on family size, you can that also comes under demographic segmentation. you know this is a very huge concept. There are many ways if you want to segment based on family size. Okay, there are mm, family with no kids, family with one kid, two kids, more than two kids. Then there is something called empty nest, where the kids are gone abroad or somewhere else and settled. So they have kids, but right now there are no one. Okay, so like this different, you can segment and give them, sell products in that way. If you look at all this med plus and so many things where they deliver medicine at your homes. Okay, they either target this one kid who is small, that kind of family, or this kind of empty nest where the kids have left the parents and gone. If you see those ads, you'll find out. Okay, they are not targeting a family where there are five kids and full parents are there. There they are not showing about getting the medicine delivered at home, because those people will go and buy. Five people are there, one or the other will go and buy. But where father is working continuously, the kid is small, the mother has to take care of kids, she can't go to buy medicine, so the medicine is delivered at home. Or two old people are there, they want to go to market, but so for so many reasons they cannot go, so the medicine is delivered at home. So these kind of things. So this is also one way of segmentation. Okay, based on religion. Okay, for different festivals you can sell different things based on this. Based on education. Okay, that is also one way of you know segmenting the market. Another way is your psychographic. If you look at the figure at the bottom, look at the same user, segmented in two ways. In demographic segmentation, you are looking at gender, status, age, and which location you are. In psychographic, you're talking about basically lifestyle. Okay, so what are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time? Okay, so this kind of thing. So in psychographic segmentation, we look at different personalities. There are different, say for example, introverts, extroverts. For them, you can target them in different ways. Okay, what kind of values? Do you believe in marriage or do you not believe in marriage? That kind of things. Attitudes, you're a go-getter, or you want to spend money and enjoy life at the moment, or you want to save and keep for future needs. So these kind of, if you can segment based on this, you can target people easily. Some people, if you think your target market is people who want to spend money right now, so you can give them that kind of offers. Okay, your interests, like are you into movie or sports? In sports you want to play golf, or you want to go to gym, or you want to exercise, you want to walk, so many things. So with this you can segment and target people. Okay, if you look at behavioral segmentation, here we are basically looking at your usage rate, your rebuying of certain brand. So that's called your brand loyalty. You bought something and you're again and again buying from the same brand. So these kind of customers you can target. Okay, and for example, suppose you are selling internet. So based on usage rate, you give 1.5 GB, and then again they finish that and again they are recharging. So these kind of behavioral things you can find out and target those people. So you've seen that consistently one category of people are using their 1.5 or 2 GB free and then again recharging and then paying some hefty amount. So you can target this kind of people and then give a offer. So they may stick with you, and then they may spread the positive things about your brand to others. Then there will be more customers. So you can actually segment these kind of people. So this is how markets are segmented. Okay, geographic. demographic, psychographic, behavioral. So that's what is explained here, nothing different here. So like I told you, suppose it's an airline company. Okay, they basically they can segment based on income, low income, middle income, high income. So if you are, for so that's why for if you look at low income segment, the usage rate is low because they hardly fly, and once you fly it doesn't mean you'll be frequent flyer. So then they seek high value for money. So if you want a repeat customer from this segment, you should make sure that the person, for the money he has paid, is getting high value for money. So how you do it? You'll have to work on it. Okay, make the flight pleasant and meet all the requirements. And middle income, usage rate not very high, but not less also. Maybe thrice or four times a year they fly, 4 times a year they fly. So again, they seek high value for money, so you should be able to provide them. Okay, high income segment, frequent flyers, they are using, so make sure that they are loyal to your brand. Give them some kind of offers, give them first preference while booking ticket or while serving them in different ways. So this is how you can segment, one simple way. Okay, fine. Look at targeting. So we finish segmentation, targeting. We'll see how it is happening. Okay, in this what you're doing is you're selecting a segment and then you're looking at targeting them. So you can target customers broadly or you can target narrowly. Okay, broadly means, see, imagine you are targeting the full market. Okay, so you segmented for your consumer product that there are students, there are old people, there are working professionals, like that, and you decided I'm going to target the whole student community. So my laptop will have a high GB RAM, is super fast, you can download quickly, and it has good processor, you can use it for gaming. So that way. Okay, now if you have, that's one way of looking at it, one size fits all kind of thing. Now if you are segmenting it correctly. Okay, so you are segmenting the market, and for each segment you are giving different offers. Okay, because now if you again look at internet recharges or mobile recharges, there can be different segments. There can be one segment who don't use much internet, who need phone for talking to others, maximum video call they may do. They don't want other offers. Some people only they want to talk. So for talk time there is something else. For video call and other things there is some kind of plan. Who are using data for movie or your social networking sites and heavily using data, for them there are certain different kind of plans. So like this you are segmenting and then targeting these groups. So if you are in this group, you have 149 rupees plan, you have 250 rupees plan, you have 55 days plan, 89 days plan, like that. Okay, another way of targeting is, concentrated or niche marketing. Okay, that means, see, now you are actually narrowing down to small. You are focusing on one or very few segments. Okay, very niche. You're, say, for example, you're targeting page three people. Okay, so it's very niche market there. So you are selling luxury cars to them. Okay, or high branded clothings and all that. Very less people are there. Then again, if you look it slightly deeper into it, there is something called micro marketing. Okay, like for example, I'm going to target only this locality. Beyond this locality I'm not going. If you look at some local cold drinks which is available only in some 2-3 kilometer radius, beyond that, that cold drink is not available. You must have seen that in your place, or in Manipal also, some kind of products you must have seen only available in this area. Beyond that it is not there. Okay, so that is kind of micro marketing. You're targeting only this segment here in this area. Okay, and then there can be individual marketing. Okay, like one on one. For example, if you look at fitness trainers who come to your home and train you, so they cannot do 10-15 people, they cannot train 10-15 people, so very limited, 2-3 people maximum. So that kind of thing, individual marketing. Okay, you are say life coach, fitness coach. If you look at the celebrities, so when they are into the training mode, they have that trainer with them. Okay, after whatever their goal is achieved, then he goes to some other project. So like that, individual marketing. In this micro marketing you can put all this also. Your Manish Malhotra clothings or whatever, this kind, Sabyasachi saris and all that. Okay, only to this niche page 3 people they are catering to, very limited people. They're not into mass market. Okay, only some celebrities, and they charge heavily, and it's fair enough. It has got some good design, good kind of embroidery, some so many things, and not all have that. You automatically stand out in the crowd when you have that product. Okay, fine. So this is just for your knowledge. Those who have studied marketing or will study, they may all come across, they may know this. But for general public, so when you're talking about all this marketing and all, there is some one small concept called cannibalization. Okay, brand cannibalization. This is just for your information. It won't be asked anywhere. This is a concept where, you know, a new product of the same company eats the share of the already existing product of the same company. Okay, you have one product of your company, it's running successfully, so launching a new product which is better than this, and the sales of the current product goes down, but company makes profit. Okay, that is called cannibalization. Just for your example, I'm telling, don't write this anywhere. If you look at MIT, okay, only MIT was there, fine. Then came MUJ, Manipal University, Jaipur. So then students started taking a seats there, and some seats started falling vacant here. You can call it as brand cannibalization. We started something, and our own share is getting damaged, but overall it comes to the same brand. Okay, for example, your Alto was there, Maruti Alto, selling nicely. Maruti came with Wagoner. Okay, better and higher version. So Alto share came down. People started buying more Wagoner. So same company's product eating another product, but finally company is making your profit. Okay, like your iPhones you can see. Okay, or your OnePlus. Something is selling nicely, a better version comes, and the first one sales come down. Second product people are buying, but finally the company is making profit. So you can use this concept somewhere when you are talking with someone, or that's why I put this here. Okay, some kind of. Okay, now speaking about positioning, we have already spoken about this. Okay, how the product is placed in your mind. So this also plays an important part. So if you look at different kind of advertisements, you would have found that there are some ads with emotional quotient. Okay, always some emotion they show. माँ के हाथ का खाना, this that and all, or some kind of ads with always some humor in it, like Imperial Blue, men will be men. All that ads have got some something in it. So based on so different approaches, companies sometimes come out with some campaigns and then try to position their product in certain way. Okay, for example, Manik Chand, that gutka, it is positioned in certain way. Then there is one, what is that? For every cricket match it comes, I think Rajini Gandha or something. Okay, they try to position it in certain way. Or your Vimal, Bolo Zuban Kesri, it's also positioned in certain way. If you look at your Bonvita or Horlicks, or your Boost, so they want to show that you are a sportsman, you should have this. For that they show Boost. If you're a good scholar, reading nicely, scoring more marks, they show Horlicks or Complan. Or you are growing taller, for that you need extra energy and all that, so Complan comes into the picture. So like that, things are positioned in certain way. If you look at Tanishq jewelry, okay, it's not for now kind of for elite class, that kind of image they have put. Okay, so that is your positioning. Okay, in positioning you're looking at based on the competitor, and according to the product class or the features they have. It's a durable product, okay, non-durable product, or you know fast moving consumer good. Based on all this, and the price and the quality, okay, for the given price, is the quality optimum, or it's paying high and then good quality. So based on these things you can position in minds of people. Okay. Hmm. Fine. Just have a look at this. I'll just be back. Yeah, just for your understanding, how your favorite brand Tesla is positioned. Hmm. During this online exam, sorry, offline in December, and then again in online, and then again offline, and again online. Okay, something, some 3 4 exams. I also have lost the touch, but everywhere, whenever one question was asked in UM, look, think of a company and whatever, explain this, whatever. Whenever something was asked, when people were given a choice to select a company of their own, so I saw people have chosen Tesla. 95% of people, hardly some people have used some company names different than Tesla. Otherwise, everybody was answering with Tesla in mind. So I thought just I should include this slide, how it is positioned, the next big thing. Okay, so if you can look at their positioning statement, you can find out their particular climate, targets are the climate aware automobiles. Okay, customers who are aware about environmental damage and all that. Okay, and people who are looking at electric vehicles or hybrid, that offers a guilt-free trip every time they use it, that they're not harming the environment, and then they can make a small impact on the world, and it's a very innovative product. So these kind of things are there through which Tesla is positioned in your mind. If you look at, if you ask someone who is not there in class today and ask them, what do you mean, what do you think about Tesla, why do you like Tesla, so they may tell, it's kind of hybrid electric vehicle, it's good for the environment, that's the next big thing, it will have this feature. Finally they'll talk about the same thing, small impact on the world, okay, by small changes. So that is positioning. Another example, if you look at Nikon, okay, now that DSLR craze has come down, otherwise before 3 4 years everybody had one I mean, everyone wanted to have one Nikon or Canon, one some kind of camera. Okay, so how it is positioned. Okay, some kind of people having creativity and eye for capturing and sharing beauty. Okay, then point and shoot, show their skills, normal thing, but from their lens, through my lens, that kind of things. So that's how it is positioned. There are different cameras, n number of things, but why only these are being sold? Because some kind of special things in it. It's positioned in that way. Okay, experts are using it. This durable. You can attach some extra lens to it. Okay, and you can capture it the way you want. You can add some effects, some kind of things which no one else has, some kind of accuracy, some kind of precision it has. So like this, so this is the way it was positioned in the minds of people. Fine. Okay, again, just some extra example, some kind of product, Lux means kind of beauty soap, film stars use it. Lifebuoy means tandurusti ki raksha karta hai, kind of health is there. Okay, if you look at Nirma, value brand. Surf means stain removal, दाग अच्छे हैं. Tide means क्यों चौक गए, it gives better cleaning, tough and powerful cleaning. Ariel means nothing happens to your hand, premium, khushbudar or whatever like that. So they are positioned in that way. Sometimes if it doesn't work, then again people go for repositioning, or already it is positioned in certain way, so now they want to capture some other market, they go for repositioning. Okay, again trying to put in a different slot in your mind and heart. Okay, so that is about all this marketing things. Now we will look at the 4 P's of marketing. See, it's called marketing mix. Okay, the ones who studied marketing will be able to understand what I'm saying. So when you tell marketing mix, it is the mix of 4 P's. Nowadays there are 3 more additional P's to it. It's called 7P, but 4P holds good in 99% of the context. Okay, so these 4 P's are product, price, place, and promotion. We will see what it is. See, when you're talking about the first P, product, you talk about either product or service, and you talk about all the things like brand, the services, the packaging, how it is, you know how good it is to look at, or what kind of features it has, how is the design. So all this comes in the product category. When you talk about price, Okay, so you talk about the price, the shipping cost, the discount associated with it. If I buy two, will I get less? And the competitor is charging 20 rupees, you are charging 25. So these kind of things. So pricing. Place is, I want to buy a product at, my place. Is it available there or should I go somewhere and buy? Now suppose I want to buy Tesla. Okay, the product you can make out what I mean by the product, the way it appears, the features that it has. Okay, when you talk of price, how well it is priced in terms of competition. Other competitors are charging 10 lakhs, but it is 15 lakhs. Is it worth to buy it, or should I not buy it? Should I wait for the price to decrease? Okay, that kind of things. Places, I want to buy a Tesla. I want it to be available in Udupi or at least in Bangalore. But if it's available only in Bangalore, okay, so I may think of my decision. Or if it's available only in Bombay, so I have to go and get it here. Then for servicing, I have to take it back. So much of journey, so much of rest, so many things. So I may back off. Okay, and promotion. Okay, what kind of, how are you going to promote your product? How are you, persuading people to buy your product? So all this comes under promotion. So another simple example, if you look at, you can think about, say, for example, summer. So mango fruity. Okay, the product. Okay, fine. Some kind of trendy yellow kind of cover packaging. Before it was green once upon a time. Now it is yellow. Okay, packaged nicely, carton box, or say 1 liter PET bottle. If it falls, doesn't break, you can transport it. Some parties that you can take home, 4 5 people can drink it easily. So that is your product. Price, say Tetra Pak charge at 10 rupees. Compared to competitors, it's fine, cheap. Okay, value for money. For the price you have paid, you should feel happy. Yeah, it gives that satisfaction. So fine, place, I can get it anywhere, in small tetra, or small petty shop, to some super mall or some other market, some other shop, everywhere it's available. Sorry. So everywhere it is available. Okay, the promotion, how they are promoting it through ads. Shah Rukh Khan comes, or you know some kind of celebrity, and then showing it as if you are thirsty, you had that, everything went on fine. So like this. Okay, so usually, mm, if you look at the from the company's point of view, the product is basically what you sell. Okay, it can be goods, services, consultation, or say therapy. You are selling, some kind of yoga classes or something, some physiotherapy services you are providing. So we can put that in product only. Okay, so it need not be only your hard product. So price, if you look at prices, how much do you charge, and how does that impact how your customers view your brand? You're charging 50 rupees for one cold drink bottle. So people may think this is ridiculous, or there is no other person that can replace your product. That's why you're charging. Fine. People may look at it in a different way. Okay. So if you look at place, where do you promote your product or service? Where do your ideal customers go to find information about your product? So you're selling something to business to business, some product you are selling. Okay, from where will the people get the information? Are they getting it through some catalogs, or some trade firms, trade fairs, or from word of mouth communication? That can have an impact. You know, how do your customers find about you? That is your promotion. Okay, how will people know that your product exists? Okay, and what kind of strategies you are using? Are they effective? So all this will come under your promotion. So if you look at the product, okay, in simple words, it is what the company sells. Okay. Mm. In other words, it's like, what makes your product so great or unique? Okay, you should tell something in comparison with others. This makes our product different. Okay, fine. If you look at Slice, that ad, they try to show that this is, actually it has got very less pulp. It's ready to serve beverage, which has got high content of mangoes or whatever compared to other brands. So that way. Okay, is there any feature that you have missed out? All these things. In what color, size, and design does your product come? So they try to show different kind of available designs and shapes. Like if you look at some suitcase company, like American Tourister or some other company, so they try to project that they have different kind of things. For short travel, there is something. For a long foreign tour, or students going abroad for studies, they have a huge bag. So everything is available. So like that. So that comes under your product. Okay, place is, where do buyers look for your product or service? Should they find your product only in a store, or it's in a supermarket, or sometimes only online, available only online, some mobile phones? Okay, that is place. You cannot find that in shops. This is exclusive offer found only online. Fine, nowadays we have to live with it. Okay, and if you look at price, what is the value of the product or service to the buyer? Okay, are there any established price points in the industry already? Like there are, there's a set zone for smartphones. So you are forced to set price in that. Okay, if you go beyond that, people may think they may be skeptical about your product. Okay, and you have to think, is your customer price sensitive? That means there may be some products, when you increase price, the customer base will be shaken. They will switch to someone else. Okay, fine, that's possible. Okay, there are different classes. So some may be highly price sensitive. That is also a point to look at. Okay, or sometimes the customer is not disturbed by the price. They just are loyal to your product. Yes, when I buy this, I'm hassle free, tension free. So I don't look at anything. I'll just buy this. Okay. See, one example from my uh, experience I can give is, when I buy any toy for my kids, I go to Mother Care. Okay, it's in Udupi. Mother Care. I don't think about the price, the value, this, because I'm sure that whatever I buy from there, it is going to be durable. It's going to be long lasting and 100% quality guaranteed. I started shopping from there maybe 2016. Uh, from after that, every time I'm going there only for whenever I want to buy, gift for some. Say you must have seen, you must have attended so many birthday parties in your childhood. Okay, and your birthday party you call everybody, and everybody's birthday party you have to go. So same thing with my kids also. There are so many friends, everybody's birthday party we have to go, and for our birthday party we have to call everyone, we have to give return gift, all this thing. So every time we'll have to buy some kind of gift, toy or something. Okay, so when I have bought from online also, but online it looks different, it's different quality, not durable and all that. But from Mother Care I buy maybe 5, 10, 15 rupees here and there, but 100% satisfied that this is going to be good quality. And so far I have not been disappointed from them. Okay, so like this, even if they charge 5, 10 rupees, I won't break my head because I won't get that quality anywhere. So that is about your price. Okay, if you look at promotion, okay, from where and when can you get your marketing message across? Okay, what is the best time to promote? Is it a seasonal product like I told you, umbrella or something? You're selling it in winter, giving ads of that doesn't work. Okay, so when winter comes, the what is it? Amul, some kind of sweaters and all, they start advertising there. And when Dermicool ad comes, you know that a summer has officially started. Okay, so Dermicool doesn't advertise and then Navratna Thanda Thanda Cool Cool, they don't do that in peak winter. Okay, just after that, when summer is about to hit, they start. So you can kind of officially say, yes, this ad has come in, summer has started now. So these kind of things. Okay, it should have a proper kind of timing. You cannot do it here and there. That can damage you. Okay, fine. And these are the 4 P's. Okay, there are 3 new P's. New in the sense, not very new, but mm, just for your understanding, I'm telling you, there is something called physical evidence. Another P is people, and the last P is process. Okay, apart from these 4 P's. So you are good enough if you know these 4 P's, but other things are just additional. Okay, the physical evidence in the sense, people want to know that your service, your product or service exactly exists or not. Okay, it's kind of evidence that a service or purchase took place, and proof or confirmation of the existence of your brand. Okay, people just want to know it exists. For example, when you do any kind of business deal, people ask for receipt, the packaging, that information tracking, from which center it has been dispatched, where it is now, from there where it will go. Okay, so all this is physical evidence, making, giving people, what do you call that? Mm, enough evidence that yes, we do exist. Okay, that's why some people are very worried about the website of the company. What is their logo? Okay, do they have the sign on their building? Where is the brand's headquarters? You may say I'm only online, but people want to know all this. Okay, fine, some mobile brand, OnePlus or something, available only online, but people want to know. Okay, who is that selling? Some kind of evidence people sort out. Okay, so that is physical evidence. When you show them your logo, your website, your brand headquarters, everything, okay, people feel, yeah, fine. Okay, another piece, people. Okay, people of your organization. Okay, the employees. So you may be having a good innovative idea, well priced everything, but when the customers, they don't deal with you all the time. They deal with others, your employees. But if employees are not good enough, okay, they are disappointing. They don't know how to talk. Okay, they don't show empathy. They are just misguiding during some kind of service hackers or something. So it doesn't work. Okay, so you should have right people also. That is what it means. Having good managers who can tackle and win customers trust, so all those things. And the last piece, the process. Okay, so here, the process of the entire that mm, deal that goes on. Okay, for example, examining the process means, assessing aspects such as the sales funnel, your payment system, your distribution procedure, how you manage CRM, okay, your customer relationships. The each step you take, that mm, how it maximizes benefits for the customer. This is all have comes in the processes. Okay, like from the time of order to the time of delivery, from the 0th hour to the end, mm, end user using it. Okay, so through which processes it has been passing through. Is it, see, now if you look at uh, Zomato ads or something, they show you this 100%, what you call safe. So they show you how it is packaged. Okay, then after that, the people with sanitized hands take it and put it somewhere. From there it is delivered. Again, after washing hands, you are getting the food here. So they are showing you basically the process is clean and safe. Okay, the process of packaging some soft drink. Okay, you may have so many things in your mind that it may be dirty there, this whatever, so many things. So they show all these processes to make sure that it is 100%, safe and reliable. So that is the seventh P, processes. Okay, so basic four P's are product, price, place, and promotion. The other three are physical evidence, people, and processes. Just for your information, those three P's. This is again put in a different way. So let me take your attendance at this point. 159 people. Good. Yeah, I've downloaded your attendance. Yeah, any doubt anybody has? Anything you want me to clarify?